recording in progress. Did everyone get that sheet that I sent from Marie? It was very, very nice. It showed, it talked about character traits.
Very nice.
Yeah, did you get it? Yeah, I thought it was very, very good. I actually,
very nice.
Yeah, I was thinking if we should take a look at that, but maybe we'll do it when I finish what I'm going to talk about. So today,
I want to ask my son to print it and to make cards of it.
Yeah, it's very, I thought it was very good because it just gives you a solid, good feeling, and it just shows you which character traits are important and which aren't. So when we talked about the character traits, so the Vilna Gaon tells us you aren't alive if you aren't working on your character. What does he mean by that? You aren't alive if you aren't working on your character. What does he mean?
It's the same thing as if you don't make progress, you regress.
Right. So it's if you don't make progress, you regress. And what do I mean by working on your character?
To try to improve yourself.
Yes. What does that mean? Anybody, any other ideas? What does it mean? Like, I'm not alive unless I'm really thinking, like, who am I and what am I? What kind of person am I becoming or being or was or is or etc. I'm so mean. I ask questions. Like, I was going to these different lectures and I really wonder, what do people like? Like, for me personally, I can't take just listening. Like that, I need to feel like I'm part of it. You know, some people tell me, don't ask, we just want to hear, you know, but I think it's important. So what does it mean? You're not alive unless you really.
Well, we're not in this world alone. So we have to learn how to be with other people, react with other people,
right,
respect other people.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's very important. Character development is who you are. So I want to tell you a beautiful, look at the Hebrew words and the richness of the Torah. Like, it's unbelievable to me. So here's what it says. It says like this. A midah, the word midah for character also is the word measurement. And it's very interesting because in English, we have this expression like, how do you measure the man? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's an expression like that. How do you measure the man? So how do people measure the man? How do some people measure people?
By the things they do.
Okay, so that's the most important part. I would say to measure a person is by what they do. A lot of people measure the man by how much money they have, what kind of clothing you're wearing. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of things are very, hi Sheila, so happy to see you. A lot of the way we measure people, how many degrees past their name, like, we're not looking at the essence of the person. We measure a lot of what a person is from the outside and not so much from the inside. And that's what I think is very beautiful about Torah. Torah is not looking at you from the outside. It's looking at you from the inside. I measure you as a person by the way you act, right? By your character, your midah, your measurement is your character. So why is character and measurement the same word in Hebrew? Why do you think?
Well, just from what you just said, that we're measured by our character.
Okay, so we're measured by our character, and our character is in measurement. So what does that mean? Like, there is a time and place for everything under the sun. That's what Shlomo Melech, the wisest of all men, tells us. There's a time and place for everything under the sun, but everything has to be measured. Too much kindness, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a bad thing, right? These, like, you know what? I was flipped out. Okay, I just want to show you this. Like, my husband, we did this whole thing yesterday on technology and what it's doing to people. Okay, like what it's done to kids and what it's done to us. Like, I think when they created it, like there's a video out there on Netflix. It's really worth watching. It's called Social Dilemma. And they interview, it really is worth watching. They interview the creators, like of Facebook, and the idea of likes, and the idea of Twitter, and the idea of Instagram. They literally interview them. And these people, like the one who invented likes on Facebook. So I guess on Facebook, when you look at someone's Facebook, you press like, or you can put a thumbs down, you can put a thumbs up. He did it for what reason? Just to make more money for Facebook. That's all. It was just like, if you see people who are very popular on Facebook, so then, you're going to try to get them to put ads up or whatever it is. He is devastated. This guy is now devastated with what happened, because what happened with this concept of like and unlike you and like you. Does anybody know what happened? What happened with it?
Competition.
Yeah. Who said it? I hear the competition. I don't feel. Okay, good. It became competition so that what, like kids are all measuring themselves by how many likes. And it's causing people, there are kids who committed suicide because nobody likes me. Or cyberbullying, where they tell you, okay, everybody unlike that person, right? So this guy is devastated. And it's so interesting when you look at these people who invented this stuff and you interview them, they won't let their kids on it because they know the addictive nature and they know like it's frying brains. So, and it's causing such emotional havoc, they won't let their kids on it. So everything in life needs a measurement. That's what we're talking about. So every midah, there's nothing under the sun that isn't needed. There's a time for chesed and a time where not. So I was reading in this book, they're talking about this concept of trying to get your kids to limit their screen time, limit their phone time, limit their this, limit their that. They interviewed the kids. So what's the problem? The parents go, oh, but everybody has it. And I feel so bad telling them. And I feel so bad restricting them. They interviewed the kids and the kids said, I wish my mother would have limited me. I wish they would have said no because I don't have the control and now I'm addicted. I wish. So this is what's so funny. Like, so those helicopter parents, like who think like, oh, they're going to give in to everything and they give everything and they swoop down. You forgot your lunch. I'm running over with, the Chuck E. Cheese. I'm running over with, you know what I'm saying? They think they're doing kindness and the Torah would tell you everything needs a a measurement. So the character trait that we're going to talk about today, which is a very interesting character trait, is anger. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Raise your hand. Yay! Wow. Hi. It's so nice to see you from Israel. Wow. Reva's daughter's here. Woohoo. Hi, Elaine.
Bye.
So nice to see you. You're taking Malka's spot. But it's so nice. I'm so happy for your mom. I'm so happy for the two of you.
That's great.
That's beautiful. Okay, yeah, that's nice. You got in. Did you have to quarantine?
No, that's when I came.
Oh, you're Canadian, right? You have Canadian. Are you Canadian? Okay, great. Okay. Oh,
12 hours. 12 hours.
Okay, no big deal. Oh, we're so happy. Okay, good. I'm so glad you're here to hear the class. Okay, so we're talking about anger. Okay, so we're talking about like how everything has to have a measurement, right? Everybody's got a different character. We all have different character traits and we have to work with them. I also want to tell you something upfront and very important, that everyone's got a different measure of all the character traits, right? What do I mean by that?
Tolerance level?
Yes, beautiful. Okay, so for instance, tolerance, right? Some people can tolerate a lot more. That's what we're going to learn, okay? And some people can't. Some people get angry on a dime. Anybody know those types? Like they're like that's it. Doesn't go their way and it's done. You know what I mean? And it's not easy, right? We're going to learn about that, right? And some people are naturally very generous and some people are naturally very stingy. Like it is really hard for them to part with their money, okay? So what's God doing? Like, why didn't God just make us all perfect?
It would be boring.
So hard. Okay.
It would be boring.
It would be boring. You wouldn't have any purpose to life and you would not have created yourself. Always remember, the person who made the money appreciates the money. The person who inherited the money usually blows the money.
Squanders
the money because it's just not important to them. So this was God's kindness to us. He said, you're going to be a partner with me. I'm going to give you all these crazy character issues, character flaws, character positives. And now I want you to take them and I want you to grow with them and mold them and harness them and use them and erase them when they're not good. And I'll be there to help you, but you got to stay awake. That's what it means by the Vilna Gaon said, you have to be alive. You have to be looking at it and wanting it and wanting to be that better person. Then Hashem saying, I'll be there for you. Okay, we're going to work together. So today's thing is anger. So like the hard part with anger, it's universal, right? You can see men who are angry, women, a lot of times like we like to think it's only the guys who have a temper. So I was listening to Rabbi Eli Mansour, and he was saying, these ladies have such a bad temper. Why? Because the husbands go to the rabbi to complain and the wives go to the Rebbitzin. So we look like all the guys have a temper and he thinks all the women have a temper. Do you see? But what's the real bottom line? It's across the board. It's across the board, right? And you can even see sometimes children, like everybody here, if you've had your children, like didn't some of them quicker to lose their temper than others? Like some were much bigger, what's it called? Temper tantrums. And other ones were like, da-di-da-di-da-di-da, right? Mm. So it's important for us to realize that, okay? Now, people in general, when it comes to character, some people say, oh, I can't change. I couldn't. No, this is the way I am. The Torah tells you that is the biggest baloney around. Okay, so the Torah tells you. And in fact, they say that there's something called that, Elaine would know this, a kasui, right? Elaine, kasui rosh, she just left. Okay, what's a kasui rosh mean? Kisui rosh, what is that? Or even, it's like a head covering, right? Yeah, so, because kisui means to cover. So the Torah says that we can cover up who we are. Right? So let's say you're having this like big fight, right? You ever have this, like you're having a fight with your husband or your kids and people are really yelling. And then suddenly somebody knocks at the door. What happens to that fight? Okay, and suddenly everybody's good, right? Or you're yelling and then the phone rings, right? And your husband sees or you see it's your boss. You don't go, oh my gosh, just wait a minute. You go, oh, hello. Okay. So the Torah tells you when you want to and when it's worth it for you and when your ego wants to look good. It doesn't care how like angry it's just been 2 minutes ago. Suddenly it could shut it down. So you will cover yourself up, right? In public, we'll very much want to make a first impression. That's amazing. You go for a job interview. Is anybody going to be insulting the guy? You're not walking in the job interview and the first thing you're going to do is say some criticism like, it's very dark in this room. Could somebody put up the lights? Like, you're not going to be doing that. Okay. You're not going to be looking for that. Somehow you are covered. So the Ben Ish Chai is a very incredible, great rabbi, a Sephardi great rabbi. And he said there is 3 things in life that uncover who you really are.
Drink.
Yes.
Money, gambling.
Yes. Well, get money, like the way you work.
Money, drink money, and
anger.
Anger.
Yeah.
Okay? These are 3 things that really reveal a lot about you. So these are very important. Like these are really important things you teach your kids before they're going dating to get married, that they should keep their eyes open for this. Like, what's this person like after he's taken a drink? What's this person like when it comes to like tipping or having to pay for the meter? Like, do they go, okay,
ordering at a restaurant?
Yes, all this stuff, right? And are they quick to anger? Like I once set up somebody and she was smart. She really was smart and it was not easy to find a shidduch for her. She's a sweet girl, but it's just not that easy. Okay, so finally get a date for her. I was like so excited. I really wanted to hope it was working out. And she came back. She said, I'm not going out with the guy again. I said, but you only went out once. Like, don't you want to give it a chance? And she said, no, because by the way he drove and how many times he was like honking and getting angry and this one is butting in and this one is that, I don't want to be with somebody who's so quick-tempered. And she was 100% right. I said, you know what? I'm really proud of you because that is a red flag. Okay, that's what the Torah is telling you. There are circumstances where you can really see someone's character and the cover up disappears, right? It's revealed. And it's important for us to have that awareness, okay? So then here is what the Torah tells you, that there are 4 kinds of temperaments, okay? So, and I love this. The word for temperaments in Hebrew, I just want to make sure, is badas. Badat means with your head, with your mind, with your knowledge. So really your temperament, like if you're going to blow or you're not going to blow, or you're even keel, or you're this or you're that, what's the Torah telling you? It takes thought. Okay? Right? Emotions will move indiscriminately. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Doesn't it make sense or not?
Yes, yeah.
Like your emotion will just pop up.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, wait, let's just say hi to Raya. Yay!
Hi, Raya.
Raya, you here?
Yeah, hello.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yes, we were waiting for you.
Yay.
Good news. Nice to see you.
And
Raya Elaine is here from Israel. Okay, Riva's daughter is here from Israel, Elaine. So it's so nice.
Hello.
Hi, Elaine. Hi, Elaine. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Yes. How are the children and Leonard?
Great, thank God.
Oh, good.
Okay, all good news.
Just have a wonderful time with Mommy and just be well.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Okay, good. So we're just talking. So it says, that's, I think, an important part of what we have to understand, because the word temperament, what's the word in it? The English word, what's the root word in the word temperament? Temper, temperature, excellent. Okay, really excellent. So your temperament is the temperature.
It's magic.
Right? That makes sense, doesn't it? So, you know, what when I'm looking at temperament and I say there's a temperature here, what do I mean?
Hot under the collar.
Okay, guys, like think, because you're good, you're smart ladies. Come on, think. What does it mean? Like there's a temperament, there's a temperature. There's a temperature in anger. There's a temperature in
hot under the collar.
Hold on one second. So what would the temperature be? What do I mean by temperature?
Whether you're a hothead or a cool cucumber.
Okay, good.
Hot.
Okay, hot, like that hot head or cool cucumber. Okay, so there's a temperament here. So the Torah is telling you something really important, that you're in control of that temperament. You're in control of the temperature. That's important for us to understand. Okay, your emotions will come with a temperament. They're going to come with the temperature. Are you going to be a cold cucumber? Or are you going to be a hot tamale? So who's going to make that decision? Who's going to be in control of the, what's that called? You know, the thing on the wall.
Thermometer.
Yeah, who's going to be in control of it?
Only
you. I'm so proud of you. Like, good, Jackie, Sheila, exactly right. Only you. So now really stop and think. Deep breath. How many of us always go, you made me mad? It's because of what you said. You're the reason why my temperature is flaring. How many people do that?
Yes. Most of us.
Most of us. Okay, most of us. So this is a real eye-opening reality. Like God is trying to tell you something. No. The person who's in charge of the temperament has knowledge. And the knowledge that they have is you can't make me do anything I don't want to do.
Well, it's a matter of taking responsibility for
it. Beautiful. Right, beautiful. And when it comes to anger and things like this, that's probably one of the hardest places. When you're like, I see it in myself, it's like it builds, like your ego feels like you've just hit it. Like, I'm not looking good. You're making me feel bad. You're doing, so it's like this, I just want to attack you back. I just want you to shut up. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to feel the pain. And all this just, so escalates, a good word. So Hashem's instead of okay. So God is saying, you know what? Whoa. use your head, use your knowledge, and realize the person in charge of the temperature is you. And you don't have to let yourself heat up, and you don't have to explode back. You really don't. And obviously this person may be losing it and their temperature is too high. That's okay. It happens, but I don't have to fall prey to the same story. Do you see what I'm saying? And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is do what Lynn said. She said, I would have to take responsibility. Okay? Okay. So now the Torah, the Pirkei Avos, comes and says something very important. And it tells you a few things, like this whole idea, you know, with the pointing fingers. Everybody know this? When you point a finger at someone, Sheila, right? Okay. So Sheila, when you point a finger at someone and you're trying to blame somebody else, if you really look at your hand, how many fingers are pointing at you? Three. Okay. So really, tell you, what's going on? The Torah is trying to tell you, like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know what I mean? Who's going to be able to take control of this situation? Is you. Like, don't try to give it to somebody else. It's not my wife, it's not my husband, it's not my kids, it's not my this, it's not my that. So now the Torah is going to teach you certain temperaments, and what it tells you, which you have knowledge when you want to make a choice. Okay, you want to make a choice. How do you make a choice of what is the right thing for you to do? How do you do that? Like, what are we supposed to do when it says, like, you know, choose?
Make a balance sheet.
Okay. Oh, good. Excellent.
And consequences.
Yes, excellent. A balance sheet and consequences, exactly right. So you really need to be thinking. So first you have to say, okay, so if I do X, what will happen? And then you want to balance it out, right? Is like, am I going to profit from this, or I'm going to lose from this? And that's really the way you make your decisions. Really, in all honesty, that's the best way to make them. So Torah tells you it's going to give you 4 character traits. We did this once. I've taught this to you before, but it doesn't matter because we have to review it 100 times. Because even when I look at it, I go, wow, I didn't remember any of that. Okay. So we're going to do, it's 4 character traits, and the Torah maps them out and it evaluates. It says, let's look at them. Let's see the consequences. And then let's see, is it a profit? Is it a loss, or is it a wipeout? Like nothing. It ends up, whatever money I make, I end up losing anyway. It ends up equal on par. Okay. So sometimes it's a real loss. Sometimes you make a profit. Sometimes you're not accomplishing anything. So when it comes to being a better person, you're looking for a profit. You're looking to gain, to be a better, happier person, like better in relationships, right? Better in the way, who was saying that? Someone said it so good right at the beginning of class. I think it was you, Lynn. This idea that you care about your character because there's a bunch of people in your life and you want to have a life that's a beautiful dance, right? Because you're going to have to dance. That's what life is. Don't ever think you're going to get away with it. You're not going to be able to walk right through it. You have to dance through it. Okay. Okay. So here is the first kind of person. And I'm going to ask you to tell me a little bit about them. Okay. Okay. So here's the first person. The first person is one who is angered easily. So on a dime, they flare up, you know, oh, missed the appointment. Oh, I can't believe it. You know, like wherever you go, whenever you're with them, you know, on a dime, this person is going to blow. Okay. What's the other side of the coin? They're quick to be appeased. Okay, so they're going nuts, like, oh my gosh, we didn't make supper. You go, just wait a minute, we're ordering chicken. Oh, okay, you're ordering chicken. Okay, but then 2 seconds later, where's my shoes? Oh, okay, don't worry about it, honey. Your shoes are in the closet. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so they're quick to get angry and they're quick to be appeased. So let's talk about it. Positive, negative, what's the profit? What's the loss? What's the balance sheet?
That's what the psychologists call a sanguine temperament.
Is it called that? I didn't know that. Could be a sanguine. Sanguine. Okay, perfect. So, and what's wrong with that temperament, or what's good about that temperament, or what's whatever about that temperament? Would you want?
It's unbalanced.
Okay, very good. It's unbalanced, and it's like,
it's prone to extremes.
It's prone to extreme. Excellent. Okay, excellent. These are excellent things. Okay, so it's prone to extreme. It's unbalanced. How do people who live with this person feel?
On edge.
On edge. That's very well said. Why are they on edge?
because they never know when that person's going to blow.
Right. So even if the person says, I'm sorry later, or calms down later, what's the problem with anger is that anger really, really hurts. That's the mistake that people make. Anger is extremely damaging. So the story that the Gemara tells you, beautiful story. So this wife was really like, her husband didn't stop yelling. It drove her crazy. Even if he said, I'm sorry, but he was always yelling. So she took him to the rabbi, like they went together. And the rabbi said to him, I don't think you're understanding what's happening. Like, he's like, what's the big deal if I yell? She could get over it. I said, I'm sorry. What's the big deal? You know? So the rabbi said, I just want you to take a piece of wood. And every time you're angry, I want you to bang a nail inside this piece of wood. Okay, fine. Then you come back to me in a couple of weeks. They came back in a couple of weeks and the board is full. Okay. The board is full of these nails. You know what I mean? She was in charge of also saying to him, like, put the nail in, you just really hurt me. Okay. So then he goes, now, you see this? This is all of what you've done. You see this? So now go ahead, say you're sorry. I'm so sorry. He goes, okay, now pull out all the nails. For every time you say sorry, pull out all the nails. He pulls out all the nails. He goes, now look at the board. Is it the same? And the guy said, no. So he goes, you see, you could say sorry, but there's a lot of holes left.
Such a beautiful example. Such a fantastic.
And I think people, we don't realize it. So like the Torah is trying to tell you, like, you know, people who have this temperament, very nice, sweet. You want to keep saying you're sorry, but it hurts, right? It hurts. So for the other people, it's not necessarily working, right? Also, someone who is like this, like extreme, when you're very extreme, what does that do for your emotional, physical health?
You're walking on eggshells.
Yeah, the people around you, but even the person who keeps blowing, like, what's that doing for them? What?
Heart attack.
Yeah. Blood pressure goes up.
Yeah. Do you realize that it is such an unhealthy state? Okay, so you're burning, the Torah tells you that you are burning yourself out, okay? You're burning yourself out. You're very vulnerable to frustration. Like everything in life is turning into this frustrated situation, okay? All right? So what should you do? So let's say you have this temperament. So God said, okay, you got this temperament, buddy, right? You have this temperament. Now weigh and measure the consequences of this temperament. So if you have this temperament, what's a good thing to do? Okay, you weighed and you measured it. Doesn't look like you're coming out with a profit, does it? No.
Carry a piece of wooden nails around with you.
Yeah, he's the best. Okay, in other words, change. That's what you're saying. You need to change. Okay, if this is who you are, and it may take a lifetime. These people, it takes a long time, guys. You know, this takes a long time, and we have to appreciate that. And we're going to have to give them the time. But at least the Torah is trying to tell you, recognize that you need to make the effort. And the person who is losing is not only the people around you, but you are losing too. So it's a good thing, like, to weigh and measure, because then you got to be motivated to change. Change is like the last thing we ever want to do is change. We'd rather die than change. And that's the truth, right? I remember once watching this show on obesity, and this lady was like 500 pounds overweight. It was so sad. She couldn't breathe. Like, they had to have her on a, you know, like with the oxygen through the nose. Like, it was so sad. She like ate herself to death. Okay. So, and went into the house, and it was like wall to wall, Coke and pop and junk and, you know, cupcakes and wall to wall. And this doctor said to her, you've got to stop. And she said, I don't even want to. I'm going to die, she said, with a cupcake in my hand. I mean, like, you can just get lost. So here the Torah is trying to tell you, before you die with a cupcake in your hand, you know, save your life, you know what I mean? And try to change, weigh and measure, and see that you're not winning this game. Okay. So that was temperament number 1. Temperament number 2. Okay. One who is hard to anger and hard to pacify. That's funny. So if he does get angry, very hard for that person to let go. They take it to the grave, okay? So hard to anger, but hard to pacify. So what's the story here? So what do you say here about this temperament?
That's probably the one of the most difficult ones of all.
Explain.
When somebody never forgets, they're always angry and is not prepared to say, I'm sorry or forgive.
Beautiful, beautiful. How come? Why would you say that that's a really like a hard one when you can't be a forgiving person?
Because you carry it around with you all the time.
Right, right. So it's interesting. So the Torah is trying to tell you, when you forgive someone, the person you're helping the very, very, very most is
Yourself.
Very well said. Okay, so that's what Torah's really trying to point that out, because Hazel's right. Sometimes, like, you know, you're bearing this grudge forever, and the person, it's like, they're like, ugh, they gave up on you. They don't care anymore. So you're ending up like eating poison, hoping they're going to get it, but they're not. After a while, like these types of people, you just give up. Okay, you're so angry. You're never going to forgive me. So I have to move on. Do you know what I mean? And you end up just losing sometimes very precious relationships. Right? So yeah, you know what? You may not be quick to anger. So there's a bracha there that people aren't on the eggshells 24/7. But if they made a boo-boo, then how do they feel?
That's it.
That's it. Around you.
Finito.
Finito. So in some ways, they're very scared again. They're very scared again, right? They're scared they're going to disappoint you, and then we're finished, right? You're never going to be able to get over it. So these are also like, it's so interesting. Like you see how you have to really, you know, in life, like it's very good to kind of recognize like who you're dealing with, who you playing cards with. Do you know what I mean? And in not only outside of you, like people in your life, to recognize it, but even like, I'm going to be honest, when you look at these 4 temperaments, I don't think any of us are going to say, I am just this one. That's not the case. You are going to say that through the journey of life, you've had times in your life that you are temperament 1, temperament 2, temperament 3. Like, what was that? Make a Deal. Remember they used to have like curtain 1, like there was a game show called Make a Deal. You had to choose which curtain. So this is what Hashem's trying to tell you. You are going to go through life, right? And you're going to fall into these different temperaments. Situations are going to bring this out in you. And now you better be smart, right? Because you don't want to be like what Hazel said, that person. Yeah, you're right. I don't usually get angry, but now that they did that to me, that shows me who they really are. I'll never forget, you know, like it's, okay. So the person who will get hurt the most is going to be you. Okay. So you will suffer still. You're going to suffer spiritual and physical damage, right? Right. Your family will still have a little, it's still a little scary to be with such a person. All right. Okay. Right. Okay. So, and what did we say? Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. Perfect. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. And I really think it's true. Has anybody here done it? Has anybody here done it yet? Yeah. And once they did it, didn't you feel a million times better? Like sometimes you have to work through the anger. I'm not going to say this happened. None of this, the Torah is telling you instant. There's no such thing as instant. It's always, you have to think it through. But once you do it, it's a new world. And usually that person also is so happy. Both parties, you know, once in a while, I'll hear stories, like I'll encourage people, please go ask, you know, forgive them. Like people come to me, you know, I haven't spoken to so-and-so, and then they finally forgive them. And usually, Baruch Hashem, everything is good. Once in a while, you'll have that story where they'll say, you know, I went to ask forgiveness and the person didn't forgive me, right? And I asked 3 times, it was the whole thing. So I'll say, you know what, that's okay, because you forgave yourself and you did the right thing. So it's gone. You know what I mean? And it's their loss. but we don't have to hold it anymore. Like the story's over. Do you know what I mean? And that to me is also a really big blessing. Okay. So temperament 3. Okay. And this person, the Torah defines as a Rasha. What's a Rasha mean?
A bad person.
A wicked, bad person. Okay. So here when we're a Rasha, like let's say we can get into this mode, right? So what would we want to do? Run quick from it. Okay. So if you find yourself in the Rasha mode, that's the last mode you ever want to be in. You know, Rasha mode is a very scary mode and you want to get
Destructive.
Destructive. Beautiful. A Rasha is a mashchis. It's really true. A Rasha is a destroyer. Okay. So a Rasha, but the sad part about the Rasha is he ends up destroying himself, right? Hitler was a Rasha. He destroyed himself. All the Rashas of the world end up crumbling. Thank God. Right? They all crumble. They crumble in a heap and they die of miserable messes, right? So a Rasha is not a beneficial place to be. So what do you think would be the definition of a Rasha when it comes to anger? Because so far we had, let's go through it for a second. We had quick to anger, quick to forgive, slow to anger, slow to forgive. And now what is a Rasha?
Does neither.
Yes. Okay. Quick to be anger and doesn't forgive. Okay, so that's the Rasha. All right, so like, okay, so this rabbi is a genius. Okay, I want you to memorize this because this is a genius. That kind of person, you know, those people walk around angry all day long. We all know them. Those are the people, you see them in the mall sometimes. You see them in a lineup and you just feel like, oh my.
You hear them honking.
Yeah, you hear them honking. They chase you to your house. You know what I mean? You just turned and you cut them off. You didn't realize it was a mistake in your story. And they'll come to your house. You know, they'll follow you till the end so they can give you a good, you know, scream at. Okay. But listen to what this rabbi says. He deserves his credit. Rabbi Gershon Henoch of Radzin. Okay. What did he say? These are the people, listen to this, who wake up in the morning already angry. And all they are doing is looking for an object for their wrath. That's genius. Do you see that? So these people, they're angry. You can't do anything about this. They wake up, you know, with a big chip on their shoulders. I knew someone like this. It was so sad. Okay, they woke up. So there was everywhere you went with them, they always had somebody to complain about, somebody to be, and they were looking for it. Do you know what I mean? You know, some people are looking, you know, with the, you know, positive attitude, and they're looking to see the sunshine. They're looking to see this. They're looking to enjoy. And some people are looking for trouble. They're
looking to unload on somebody.
Yeah, unload all their anger on somebody. Give somebody the, you know, blame it all on them. Take out all their frustrations on them. And they wake up frustrated. Now they're just looking, well, who can I be, you know, where can I put that frustration? Where can I blame that? Okay, so that is scary. Now I want to tell you something that's very important. If you, chas v'shalom, you know, you sometimes have to deal with such people, right? You either have to live with them or they're your boss, or, you know, there's an occasion that you end up meeting these people. So here's what Miriam Adahan, so she's a psychologist, a great psychologist.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so she's, you know who she is. She's really, really good. So she says that. She said like this, sorry. She said, you need to appreciate very strongly, just because someone is in your life or part of your family doesn't mean they're normal. Okay. All right. Like, you know, sometimes it might be disappointing to realize that, but it's a good thing to know. Okay. Just because they're in your life, right? And just because they're part of your family, that doesn't mean they're normal. And sometimes that could even be your own parents. They went through their tsuris, they went through their hangups, and they didn't come out 100%. It's okay, right? Where you ended up with a daughter-in-law or a this or a son-in-law, or like, you know what I mean? We don't always choose, right? Who our family is. You can sometimes choose your friends before you can choose your family, right? And Hashem says sorry, or they started off normal and something happened to them and it ticked them and they're not the same person, right? So why is it important when you're with the Rasha to know that? Why is that important when you're with that person who can never forgive? And
so you'll know how to handle yourself.
Right. Because we could easily do what? Blame ourselves. We could easily say, you know, maybe there's something wrong with me, but the reality is the other way. And that's, I think, sometimes very, very hard, like as a parent or as anyone, you know, not everybody's kids are who they wanted them to be. Do you know what I mean? And you're looking at these kids and you're like, I don't get it. Like, I didn't expect that. Right? And then you start thinking, you know, was it my fault? And you know, we've got to be honest. Okay, maybe sometimes it may be, maybe we have a little percentage in the story, but your percentage is extremely tiny because there's something called free will choice, right? There's something called the ability to look at myself and even change myself that little bit, but I can change myself that little bit. You know, if it's an accident or freak of nature, whatever, that's a different story and that's a different discussion. If the person really has no free will choice, they're not well, that's a whole different ballgame, right? But for the average person, most of us are well enough. That's what Hashem says. You're well enough that you could really be taking care of yourself. And you cannot look at your kids or your husband or all the people around you and take the responsibility of their emotional angst on you. If the person is a Russia, we're dealing from a different city, right? Does this make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think it's very important, and it's okay to be able to say they aren't normal or they're not normal in this area. They're like got a hypersensitivity and I cannot take the garbage out for them. I can't. Like, I can't pick up their garbage. That's not my garbage. You have to hold your own bag and take it to the curb. You know what I mean? So it's very important. Okay, yes.
What happens if there are two Russias together?
Yeah. So two Russias have their own fun. Yes, Lynn, did you want to say something? Oh, no. Lynn saying two Russias together is this. Kaboom!
It is.
It is. I agree with
you.
Most probably.
What? Say this again? I agree. I truly agree. I truly agree. And you know what? We can try to help them a little bit, you know, but then that's it. Then this is where I love these ideas. Like, I love the way the Torah works. I love the way it works because there's something in the Torah called boundaries. Do you know what I mean? So you have two mishagulim together. Okay, you've got two nutballs together. So we can try to teach them to dance. We can try to help them. But if they're really like beyond, at the end, it's their responsibility. And we have to put up the
wall.
Boundaries. I tell people, you know, and anybody here ever watch Star Trek? Any of you Trekkies? Oh, no? Yes? Okay, you're Trekkie. Good. So Star Trek, it was like this science.
30 years ago.
Yeah, 30 years ago. It was like space, outer space. It's a science fiction like program. It was a science fiction program. It was really good, actually. So whenever they would go out to war, you know, one spaceship against the other spaceship, and one spaceship is about to send a rocket towards you, they used to say, shields up. You know, they would put a shield around the spaceship. So that's what I tell people. When you're going to be hit with a rocket, right? We're going to get hit with rocket. This person's like screaming at you. Shields up. Because if you put your shield up, then you have a few minutes to do what the Torah is telling you. Think before you speak. If you don't keep the shield up, they're going to hit you right. It's going to be a direct hit to the heart, and then you're right. You're going to be going. So it's very important. I think these are all really like important ideas. Okay. So obviously, when you weigh and measure the Russia, that's misery from head to toe. That's total internal misery. You know, you got to send them to anger management. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really need help, and they have to be able to see that they need that help. Okay, beautiful. What is temperament 4? And it's such a nice temperament. And this is the one that you want to engage in the most. One who is hard to anger. It's hard to get them to be angry. Like, they're really pretty even keel. They've got sablanut. They have patience. They have an understanding, which I'm going to explain to you that the depth of that understanding. And they're very easily pacified. Like, if they, you know what I mean? If they got angry and someone says, you know, whatever, they'll say sorry. Like, I'm sorry and I didn't mean to do this. And they'll accept your apology. The Torah tells you such a person is called a chassid. Okay, so that does not mean that they wear payas and they have a shtreimel on their head. That's not a chassid. A chassid from the Torah's perspective means someone who can go beyond themselves. That's what a chassid is. Chassid is
a mensch.
A mensch, because kindness is always going beyond yourself. You have to expand. In order to be a chassid, you have to be expansive. So you're okay. You know, somebody said something foolish, then you can say, you know what? I'm not going to react right now. I'm not going to be a shmata. I'll deal with it later. I'll give them time to calm down. I'll judge them favorably. I'm not going to react right now. It's okay. You know, and then when they come over and they're going to say, oh, I'm so sorry, and it's sincere, I'm going to say, no, it's no problem. I understand. You were just in a bad mood, or you needed to eat something, or whatever it was. Do you know what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying, right? So that's like a beautiful, beautiful personality. Now, a few things. How do you get to that place? How do you get to that place?
You have to work hard at that.
Okay, wait, we're going to do one person at a time. So let's, Raya, you first. How do you get to the place where you can let things go? How do you get to that place?
By living it.
Say that again.
By living.
Okay.
I said by living with kindness
beautiful.
And with thoughtfulness.
Beautiful. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so by being very deliberate, like this is, you want to live with this. You want to be this person. This is one of your goals in your character development. This is what the Torah is trying to tell you. You got to choose, right? You don't want to be a person who just reacts. Like the Torah is trying to teach us, let's be proactive in being a mensch by learning the tools of how to be a mensch, right? This is like the tools. And then doing what Raya said. Practice, right? Practice by living this way. Now, when you practice something, what's so good? What happens when you do something consistently?
Becomes
you improve. Yes.
It becomes the norm.
Yes, it becomes your nature. Do you see what I mean? Now, like I keep saying it, it's very important, right? Like you're made of a body and a soul. The soulful part of you is the godlike part of you. It's the part that wants to do the right thing. It's the part that doesn't really want to yell at people and be the Russia. The body wants the easy way. Body wants the easy way. So like a lot of people are like, why do I have to bother? Like just, this is who I am and get over it. Do you see what I mean? So Torah's telling you, no, you didn't come to the world for nothing. You didn't come just to like live in your habits that are not good. On every front, okay, I just want to really specify this, on every front. You know, like being low sense of self. The Torah doesn't want you to have a low sense of self. You know, and it could be that you came to it rightfully. You know, there were a lot of people in your life, they always criticized you. You had very harsh like realities. It's very mean teachers. You have friends who were not the nicest, whatever it was. Or you absorbed people's criticism when you were little and you really took it to heart. But Hashem would say to you, you know what, I don't want you to live like that. I don't want you to be thinking you're not worthy. You are so worthy in my eyes. I want you to build your self-esteem from within, from what I tell you, like you're my precious child and there's nobody else like you in the world. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not just looking, I'm looking all across the board when it comes to making a conscious effort to be that mensch you want to be, right? Okay. So that was very well said, Raya. Like Raya said, you got to learn this stuff and then you got to practice this stuff. So now, when it comes to this whole anger thing, this is going to be probably one of the hardest things I have to tell you, all right? When it comes to character building in general, you need a lot of amuna, okay? What's the word amuna mean?
Faith.
Faith, good girl. Okay, so where do you think faith and character building comes together? Where are we meeting them? Where's the meeting point of faith and character building? Okay, so faith in God, faith in yourself. Okay, where does that come in with character building?
You have to have faith that you can.
Okay, you have to have faith that you can, like that God wouldn't give you a test that you can't do. You have to have faith that God's a partner in the story. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, so
you have to have faith in others as well.
Yes, in some ways you do. You have to have faith. This is a very, like, this one I always find, okay, that was an excellent question, Lynn. Okay, Mamish, excellent. We're going to have to, like, I have to really dissect it because it's a hard answer what I'm going to say. It's hard. It's not so easy. Okay. So number one, faith. Okay. So number one, faith is the people in your lives are not an accident. Okay. No one that you meet in the day is an accident. Your parents aren't an accident. Your children aren't an accident. Nobody is an accident. So me meeting you, I was thinking about it today, Raya. We must be doing this for 13 years. Can I not? Could you imagine? Like, this is crazy. Like, I was trying to think today, what am I going to teach? It's been 13 years. I don't know if I have. And I realized we probably forgot everything. Might as well start from the beginning again. But like 13 years is a long time. Okay. So the fact that we all met each other and the fact that I'm going to tell you what we are. We're chavrusas. You know what a chavrusa is? A learning partner. Okay, there's no better friend on earth than a chavrusa, than a learning partner. So that's what we all are. We're chavrusas, we're learning partners, right? Okay, so it's not an accident. It's not an accident. Don't think this was just like, oh, by coincidence, 13 years ago, someone had a cute idea and invited me to join this. It was a moment that was set up. And I feel you made a good free will choice because we're learning and growing together. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes, it was a gift. This was a gift God gave us. Okay. So we have to appreciate that. So even the good, the bad, and the ugly, they all come from Hashem. Okay. So let's say you are in relationships with these kind of people, or you are sometimes these kind of people. You have to realize it's all coming from Hashem. And now you have to make choices with that reality. Okay. If the person is abusive in your life, then God wants you to have the strength to leave. Okay? Anybody who physically and emotionally abuses you, right? If you can get out, get out. And that's really the truth. All right. If, there's circumstances that change the story, there's circumstances that change the story, right? But otherwise, this one insulted you and your daughter-in-law said this and your son-in-law did this and your husband did that and did. If you have Amunah, then you know this was coming to you. For what reason? A challenge for you to be a better person, maybe to open your eyes and make you go, oops, I think I said the same thing to somebody else. Okay, now I know how it feels. Maybe I better go and apologize to so-and-so. Okay. There's like multiple reasons, but the idea is to know it's not for naught and that there's something that has to happen here. Okay, so anybody have these things happen? Like you get into this heated situation and like I just had it a little bit yesterday, like somebody was saying something, I got kind of really insulted and then I'm trying to, get my act back together and then I'm like, forget it, like, this was meant to happen. I got to grow a little bit. They touched my emotional sunburn, like grow up a little. Do you know what I mean? Like I had to grow up and that was okay. It was good. First my heart was pumping and then I got into it. Right. And then I got into, looking at it with the right proper eyes. Okay. So to be able to be a person who doesn't anger easily is going to take work. Does anybody believe me?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Hard work.
Hard work, come on, let's be honest, okay? Hard work. You need Amunah.
A lifetime of work.
A lifetime. That's exactly what the Torah says, that it's a lifetime. Like in Yiddish, gut gesagt, you said it right, okay? So Sarah.
What I found out for myself is that the most important thing is not to react, to keep my mouth shut.
Yes. The Torah will tell you that who is a wise person? Like how do you keep a fence around wisdom? Siyag lechachma shtika. The greatest fence to be a wise person is quiet. Do more listening than talking. That's really the wise people. The ones who do a lot of listening, they don't do a lot of talking. Those are the ones at the end. They're very deep and they're very, smart. Okay. So what's going on here? That's an important thing. So you have to have the Amunah that you have the strength. You have an Amunah that this is a test. It isn't an accident. And a test means work. Okay. When a teacher gives a test, it's to really extract from you what you know. If they give you a test on everything you already knew, it's not a test. Right? So that's something we also have to know. Now, what's interesting here, one who is hard to anger, which means they're not going to get angry on a dime. And it takes a lot to get them angry. But sometimes we need to be angry. The Torah tells you every character trait has a measure. And sometimes there is a measurement that anger has a place. And where does anger have a place? To motivate you when you see injustice. When you see other people being hurt, unjustifiably, for you to stand up and to be able to do something about it. Okay, that anger will be that motivator for a minute. Like, how could they do that to so-and-so? Like, you're in a room and somebody just insulted somebody, the insult, or they were very careless. So you might feel a little bit anger, and that's good because it'll motivate you to go over and say to the person, you know what, that's my booby. That's not how you talk to my booby. You know what I'm saying? That's important. That's important. That's my husband. Really, I don't want you to talk about my husband that way. It's important. Do you know what I mean? That's my kid. That's my this. Like, somebody is being abusive, you need to be a little, we can't just go, oh, so they robbed his store and they raped 10 women. Oh, it's really just because they had a hard childhood. So we're going to let them back on the street. No, we got to feel like these people were hurt and somebody has to do something about it. Do you know what I mean? And no, that isn't correct. Maybe we'll send them to rehab and maybe we'll give them psychiatric help. Do you know what I mean? But no, we're not going to just let them on the street. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so there's a time, right, where we're going to have to, where you need to stand up, right, and express that feeling, all right? And it can be a positive motivator. So now, how do we diffuse anger? So the Torah tells you your face speaks lots. Okay, so sometimes you could be frustrated with someone, but you don't have to necessarily scream and yell, all right? Because that takes us to another planet. Sometimes you could have a face that shows a little disappointment. That's a nice idea. Like just a little disappointment. And that little disappointment is enough sometimes for that person to go, uh-oh. But if you're the type of person who's always, if you're the type of person who you don't get angry a lot, then when they see that face of disappointment on you, that person knows something happened. When you're yelling all the time, what do people think at the end?
That you are cuckoo too.
Yeah, that you're nuts and you're always just yelling. So you have you know what I mean? They're not going to look at the story and want to change it or take any responsibility or help you through it because they just look at you as, a very angry person. And I want to end with this, the being very angry. I'm going to tell you what it causes, which is one of the saddest things I witness, is it causes the people around you to lie a lot. What does that mean?
To avoid anger.
Right. They'll lie a lot because they're so scared of you. And then I see these angry people, they say to me, why don't people want to tell me anything? I feel like nobody ever tells me anything. And I feel like saying, yeah, because you won't listen and you'll just yell. You know what I mean? So I think all this stuff is so beautiful. Okay, and you have to appreciate, this is not, it's better than Psych 101 today. Psych 101 today, I'm worried about where we're going in those directions in the world, right? Thank Hashem, you have the Torah. The Torah is this anchor. It's the instructions to living eternally. That's what you have to appreciate. It's not that 3,000 years ago, the rabbis were lucky, okay? They came up with something called sensibility. Do you know what I mean? That lasted. No, it is sensibility. And you are living in a world right now, honestly, that's losing its sensibility. And we're going to have to hold on tight. Okay? Yeah. So we're just going to end with Sarah because it's 3:02.
Sorry. You gave such good names, Rasha and Hasid. Are there any names?
The other two didn't really have it's interesting that the other two really don't have, they didn't like name them in a specific way. That's
Don't have a label.
They didn't have a label. Because the Russian, the Hasid, I guess, are on the outside, are the real extreme. And these guys are probably what I would call the Benoni, the middle person. Do you know what I mean? Like average, not middle, like that's where you land, but the average guy. You know what I mean? The average person. Okay. So we're working to become the Hasid.
The government to study Torah.
Yeah, I know. I wish we could. I wish we really could. I wish like there was just.
That would be the answer.
It would really help. All right, everybody. A wonderful good week. And enjoy your time. Elaine, enjoy your time. Okay. Bye, everyone. So nice.
Okay,
to
bye.
Bye. Bye. Okay.